Everyone. My name is Paul Fisher, and I'm one of the many voices of TBC around the globe. Today, I'd like to go over a blog post that came out yesterday, and it's called How We Will Get to the Desired End Results. And it starts out with a video that Bay Derek has come up with that I think is the best so far, simply because he takes pieces of the other videos he's created and puts them together in kind of like a masterpiece. I highly recommend that you use this video when you want to let others know what TBC is all about. You'll also notice that in his video, he does not put any of his information in the version that is on the blog post. So you can literally use that link in that video to introduce it to people and then give them your link and take it from there. So I would like to read at this time, excuse me, what Admin TBC has written in this article. Okay, so here's where he starts. It is time for the world to receive an abundance-based economy. Ending poverty globally is a necessary part to having an abundance-based economy. The truth is that we live in a world full of natural abundance, and any claim otherwise is false. Any claim that humanity has overpopulated this earth is also a lie, meant to enslave the whole of humanity. Let us not be deceived. We should all embrace this one truth, that we live on an earth full of abundance. Poverty is a man-made condition and is completely based on artificial scarcity. Because of artificial scarcity, technological advancement threatens to impoverish additional mass quantities of mankind. That doesn't make any sense. Logically, technological advancement should empower humanity to rise out of poverty and misery and should not further enslave us. This is a critical point in our history upon this earth. We will continue to be suppressed by the few that desire to further enslave us, or will the masses unite to stand up for their birthright of accessing the abundance of this wonderful earth? Another truth we should embrace is that the few only have power over consenting masses. At any time when the masses refuse to consent in total unity against those intent on enslaving us, those few will have no power over us. It is becoming more and more obvious that we have nothing substantial to gain by continuing to consent to these evil plans for us and the few working to make them happen. I don't want you to be poor. Do you want me to be poor? Of course not. We, the masses, are sick and tired of living in a world full of poverty and misery. We cannot afford to ignore the problem of world poverty. Ignorance comes from the root word ignore. So we also cannot afford to remain in ignorance. I set up TBC with the intent to end poverty globally. TBC will lead the world into an abundance-based economy. Imagine a world where everyone has access to abundance, and a world where we conquered poverty. Death by starvation will be unheard of in that world. Access to all the creature comforts we see in first world countries will become universal in every corner of this earth, like safe and sound housing, plenty to eat, purified water on tap in both hot and cold, reliable electricity and internet access, clean clothing and furnishings, and quality transportation in all of its variations. Would an abundance-based economy and social economic classes, would an abundance-based economy end social economic classes? Of course not. It would just strip the current bottom layers off the scale of classes once we end poverty globally. There will always be people that want more and others that want less. Each will gather the level of comfort and luxury they desire without unnecessary hindrances imposed on us. Consent should be a tool of empowerment and not a tool used to enslave. Yes, I do recognize that we do not currently live in such a world. The world we live in today is full of hatred, war, crime, and many other miseries, all because of man-made poverty. We have no other choice but to go through a transformation in order for humanity to live in a world that enjoys an abundance-based economy. We must accept that the passage of time is a part of this transformation. Rome wasn't built in a in a day. This kind of transformation will not be effortless. We literally have to change everyone's mind about this to complete the transformation. Some minds will be very difficult to change, so we should recognize that. The truth is contagious. It spreads just like a virus. I've already given you the pathway out of poverty in another blog post. So I want to give you some additional clarification why this pathway will work. We must come to terms with what the world at large will accept. The world already has an idea what to expect from a millionaire or a billionaire. We really can't alter that existing belief too much, otherwise the world would reject it. In other words, the world would not accept a millionaire or billionaire that behaves like ignoramus. If the way they talk or think appears like an ignoramus, then people would question how they achieved the status or claim that they are a millionaire or billionaire. Let's specifically address the status of a TBC billionaire. If the majority of these TBC billionaires lack good business sense, then the world will reject them and their claim and will even violently oppose them. Therefore, it is imperative that the TBC billionaires each develop this good business sense within themselves. Otherwise, rejection should be expected. Not by me, but by the world at large. So my point here is that you should expect to grow in a professional way if you want the world to accept your status as either a millionaire or a billionaire. My concern is emptying the admin wallet as fast as possible between a billion members. So I do not ask for very much at all in order to distribute a whole TBC coin at this time to you. So don't use that as an acceptable standard to measure your status as a billionaire. You really need to study so that you will also talk, act, and think like a billionaire. Otherwise, we will have a hard time getting to mass adoption without the world rejecting us. Within the pathway out of poverty, I introduce Bitcoin bounties. Participation is encouraged, but remains optional as far as earning Bitcoin bounties. You must meet some basic requirements before you are allowed to opt into getting Bitcoin bounties. The opt-in process shows the ability to follow directions. An ignoramus cannot follow directions. In order to earn Bitcoin bounties, you have to talk to people in such a way that motivates them to join and to make a monthly payment. Knowing how to motivate people to take desired actions is a business skill. Relatively speaking, We are not asking for much from people to participate in Bitcoin bounties, but it still requires some skill and credibility in order to be successful. For many of the poor on earth, they don't have any experience at all in motivating others to participate in a business activity. Bitcoin bounties is a very simple way to build up those people skills and business credibility. By design, Bitcoin bounties are much, much more than a simple way to collect funds for the admin to pay the expenses of running TBC. It is a 50-50 partnership agreement. It is not a bad thing if some of our members struggle to earn Bitcoin bounties. Think about that. Struggle is the only way some of our members will learn what it takes to be in business. Without Bitcoin bounties, these kind of members may be able to complete a 40 grain transaction as a buyer, and that activity takes very little skill to complete it. Buying is easy. Selling requires some skill. How are they going to be able to sell 40 grains if they struggle to get people to pay 8 grains? We want our members to develop some good business sense during the distribution phase of TBC so that later they can create a business of their own and be successful at it too. The employee mindset is very different from the entrepreneur mindset. And let's face it, most poor people only have experience as an employee and no experience in running a business. Bear in mind that the way TBC will end poverty globally is by turning 1 billion members into 1 billion business owners that will employ 5 to 10 employees each. The coin or the technology alone will not create 4 billion jobs. People create jobs, right? The media war against TBC is coming. The elite are very predictable if you study their playbook. I have studied their playbook and I know they own and run all of the mainstream media outlets. Once we get big enough for them to take notice of TBC, I guarantee you they will do everything in their power to tear TBC down. They will spread negative talking points out to these outlets to broadcast against TBC. The more ignorant our TBC community is, the easier it will be for them to come up with negative talking points about us. Spreading fear and doubt about TBC is what they will do. It will happen. We must be highly organized and unified in order to combat in this media war and win the battles. This is the main reason I encourage members to become broadcasters, to learn how to speak well on video and defeat any issue that the elite may use to tear us down. The truth is on our side. 1,000,000 TBC broadcasters that work together in a unified manner is all it will take to win this media war. If you are not actively promoting TBC, then you won't have the needed knowledge and skills to be an effective TBC broadcaster during the media war. So, buying 40 grains of Kringles to receive a whole TBC from the admin wallet and then sitting back and doing nothing to help build up the TBC community will make you a very weak TBC billionaire. So weak that the world would reject your claim to the status of billionaire. Weakness should not be encouraged. At this time, we are not forcing any of our members to participate in Bitcoin bounties. Just remember that collective efforts produce collective results. My concern is that currently most of our TBC members are not actively learning how to present themselves as millionaires and billionaires to the world. Bitcoin bounties can turn this around. When we started the Bitcoin contest, we had small 3-digit numbers of new members coming in weekly. Then it grew to 4-digit numbers, and soon it will be 5-digit numbers and then 6 and 7-digit numbers. Bitcoin bounties have a way of unifying our TBC community unlike anything we have ever done before. Before Bitcoin bounties, it was difficult to give the merchants of the world a simple way to engage in a means to cover the costs of accepting Kringles, even partially. Cash flow is paramount for all merchants. They continuously have to restock their shelves with product that have been sold. Most cannot afford to make long-term investments like sitting on an accumulation of TBC coins. Bitcoin bounties create a passive residual income, and with 102 admin credits a week, our merchants can create a highly profitable relationship with TBC. 102 times $12.50 equals $1,275 additional passive residual income added weekly and compounding. TBC Bitcoin bounties could become the largest profit center they have for many of these merchants. Imagine a merchant earning more in Bitcoin bounties than what they earn in their regular business. Making TBC spendable is what it will take to create an abundance-based economy. We need existing merchants to get excited about TBC. Our objective is to sign up 1 billion members, and that about 50 million of them will be existing merchants. Who is going to sign up 50 million merchants? As the admin, I can't do that all by myself. This is why I support the full-timers in TBC, and we are training them on how they can sign up these merchants and get an additional 100 admin credits for each merchant that they sign up. Don't make the mistake of undervaluing Bitcoin bounties. I have made the case for their necessity as concisely as I could here in this article. Believe me, I could go on and on about this subject. Those who have refused to opt in on collecting Bitcoin bounties have nothing to gain by discouraging those that have accepted our offer to opt in to get them. Let the builders build. Stop distracting the builders. You have your TBC wallet and your send button is on. If you don't want to pay the monthly admin fee, then don't. We must complete the distribution phase of TBC before we can enjoy an abundance-based economy. And that's where that blog post ends. So I will leave that for you all to consider and read over that post as often as you like. It is very well written and spoken, along with the video that Bay has put together. It's all up to us to create an abundance-based economy. Thank you all for listening and watching.